which is being imposed? Is it a blanket ban which is being imposed? Not certainly, sir. It's not a blanket ban. We are confining it only to those defaults which may arise during the COVID period, but it does not affect the applications already filed before the adjudicating authority for initiation of CARP, and ongoing corporate resolutions can continue. Also, this very sounds sensational, and many members did take it up, of course, not to sensationalize it, but with a concern that have we released the promoters from liability against fraudulent transactions? Very pertinent question, sir. I just want to say the ordinance and now the bill does not provide any protection against frauds. It provides protection to directors in respect of liability under subsection 2, which deals with exercise of due diligence to minimize the potential loss to the creditors. Further, section 166 of the Companies Act 2013, Vivekji, you might know this, which requires a director to discharge his duties with due and reasonable care, skill and diligence, remains intact. Thus, there is no protection from fraud. We are not at all protecting from fraud. So this question of protection forever. A company which was viable before the onset of the pandemic may earn normal profits from current operations and become viable again after the impact of the pandemic subsides. It would, however, take years to wipe off the deep stress that arose during COVID-19 period for some companies, and some others may have a better revival impact. Depending on the nature of the industry, specific strength of a company, one may recoup the loss in 1 year, one may take several years. If the company is pushed into insolvency, when it is recouping the loss itself, the objective of the ordinance is lost. And that is why we have designed it in this fashion. So again, due concern a lot of members have expressed, have MSME creditors lost an effective means to recover? This particular code, sir, the IBC code, is not a recovery law. The creditors do have all kinds of options for recovery. Saving lives of companies is far more important than enabling recovery of loans which may exist, which may be utilized through various other options which prevail. We had the compulsion to save businesses, corporate debtors, and they need to be insulated
please.
Rather than enabling creditors to recover the loan for which they have several other options. So then Sri Narayan Das Gupta ji raised this question that there is no distinction between small borrowers and large borrowers. There is absolutely a distinction in that the increase of the threshold that has been given, the increase in the threshold default from 1 lakh to 1 crore for initiation of insolvency proceedings protects small borrowers. So IBC cannot be implemented for those companies which are below 1 crore. So small MSMEs are not going to be drawn into this, if that's a fear. So I think partly I've answered Dinesh Trivedi ji's concern that there are several other avenues through which recoveries can be done. One can use statutory options, one can use supervised compromises, court-supervised compromises. One can even use the RBI's prudential framework. Arrangements which are available under Companies Act can also be used. So recoveries are possible